What's up, guys? Today we're going to be going over the top 5 weapons to get from this season. I usually like to put out a video like this to go over the 5 most important weapons I think are from the season and their god rolls, because I think these will be relevant down the road in builds and things like that. So let's go ahead and jump straight into it. At number 5, I have the fixed odds machine gun, which is not my favorite RPM type, being 360, but comes with a really unique perk and roll, that being killing tally. Then left you have field prep or even feeding frenzy. And the reason I want to put this one on the list is because it is the first machine gun with killing tally since 21% delirium, which was one of the best machine guns ever. And the way this perk works is it's gonna be a 30% buff like most other perks in the game, but once you get the third kill, it will stay forever until you have to reload or swap weapons, which makes it more or less a rampage that will last forever, which is just really good for machine guns. If there's any downtime between, spawns of ads, you won't lose that damage perk. Also, machine guns have gotten buffed a few times over the past year or so they're definitely really strong right now and feel really good. And before we move on to number 4, a quick word from today's video sponsor. This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Download Raid using my link and help me reach my goal, and your name might be featured in my next video. You also get a free in-game package for new users. Raid Shadow Legends has celebrated their 3rd anniversary as one of the top RPG games out there, and since then they have not slowed down at all. They could have stopped after their early successes, but they kept pushing and establishing themselves as a leading mobile and PC game. Just check out some of the amazing things that happened in the game during those years. In my opinion, the best thing Raid has to offer is all of the different combinations of champions. With hundreds of artifacts to equip and over 600 champions blessed with unique skills, you can build your team and develop your champions the way you want. So diving into one that I really enjoy is the Royal Guard. I've been using the Royal Guard for mainly one reason, just completely destroying bosses. It has an extremely powerful ability that scales damage based off the enemy's max HP, so not only can he slow down a boss, he also does incredible damage himself, which is a great champion to use because there's a ton happening in Raid this month. They've got special events every single day, including an entirely new event for the summer solstice called the Path of Light. But wait, there's more. Raid's currently running a special Deliana chase event where you can get your hands on the amazing Deliana, a brand new legendary champion from the High Elves faction. All you have to do is play Raid for 7 days between now and July 20th and you'll get it for free. You definitely don't want to miss out on this champion. It is one of the strongest support champions in the game and help carry your entire team past many of Raid's toughest challenges. And the gifts just keep on coming for all new players. If you enter the promo code you see on screen right now, you get her for free after only 7 logins, and you will get 50 XP brews to instantly get your legendary hero to max level 50, as well as a ton of silver. So if you're ready to jump into the awesome world of Raid Shadow Legends, you can download the game using my link in the description, and you will also get bonus loot including Vergis, 200k silver, 1-day XP booster, energy refill, and 1 ancient shard. So you can summon an awesome champion as soon as you get into the game, all waiting for you in your inbox. If you complete the tutorial, you'll have a chance to be featured in my next video, and it's just that easy. Click the link in the description and I'll see you in the game. And now at the number 4 spot, I have the Lingering Dread from the dungeon, and the reason I have this is because 1, GLs have always been extremely strong, and this one comes with a role that no other GL can get. So that role will be Chill Clip, which will make it so whenever you hit a target, it will then slow nearby targets, which will be really good for just general gameplay, but also stasis builds to just slow things, and that will combine with all of the fragments and aspects on those stasis subclasses. Then to pair with that perk, you can run something like Autoload and Holster, or even Feeding Frenzy, Unrelenting, Ambitious. There's all kinds of good left perks. Then if you don't want, Chill Clip, you just want a good GL, there's still Vorpal, there's still Demo, there's Multi-Kill Clip, Danger Zone, and it has Blinding on top of all this. So Blinding and Chill Clip, that'll be like 2 ways to slow down and freeze enemies. So this GL is going to be really good for crowd control, and especially really good on stasis. Moving on to the 3rd slot is one of my favorite weapons from this season, the Drang, which is a sidearm. And I know some people hate sidearms, some people love them. I've always really enjoyed them. I've always thought they were among the best primaries for PvE, right up there with SMGs. Now, some other people that play on mouse and keyboard think they're trash, but I've always really enjoyed them. And this one comes with some really good rolls for solar. So on the left, we have a few good perks. We have Wellspring, which is usually in the right, so it being in the left is extremely good. You can also do Disruption Break, but mostly we're looking at Wellspring on this weapon left. Then in the right, if you're playing solar and making solar builds, the Incandescent perk is extremely good to spread those stacks of Scorch to targets, pretty much like a Dragonfly but for Scorching, and that is the combo I have. I have Wellspring Incandescent and works extremely well for Solar 3.0 builds. Now if you just want a regular sidearm and you don't necessarily want to build into Solar, you still have Rampage, you still have Vorpal, and even Swashbuckler. So overall, the sidearm comes with a lot of good perks, and it's really good for Solar builds. So coming out number 2 is the primary I prefer a little bit more than the Drang, which is the Callus Mini Tool, which is a 900 RPM SMG. And this type of SMG is considered the strongest primary in PvE, right up there with maybe like 750 RPMs, just because of how much damage you're doing per second. It'll just shred through absolutely everything. And just like the Drang, this has a really good role for Solar 3.0. That's gonna be once again Incandescent. And then left, there's not really any good perks, which is why I kind of like the Drang a little bit better in a few different situations because of Wellspring. But in this one, we don't really have a good reload or a good like ability perk. So we can use something like Grave Robber, Moving Target, or Threat Detector. I think Threat Detector is overall the best. You could also use something like Unrelenting, which will pair very nicely with Incandescent because it'll get a bunch of kills from the Incandescent and they'll all count towards Unrelenting. But overall, the role I'd be going for is Threat Detector and Incandescent. But if you don't want a solar build once again, in the right you could go for Surrounded or Disruption Break or even something like Feeding Frenzy. But overall, if you're going to be trying to get this weapon, it's going to be mostly for solar builds with Incandescent and the Threat Detector. Then at the number 1 spot is the Storm Chaser, which is arguably the strongest legendary power weapon since maybe like Falling Guillotine. This thing is absurdly strong right now and pretty much broken. What makes it unique is it is a 3-round burst linear fusion rifle that shoots at the exact same RPM as every other linear, but it does almost like 40% more damage per burst as long as you hit all the headshots, which for most bosses in the game or with div is going to be extremely easy. So it's pretty much just straight up 40% better than most power weapons in the game, and it comes with a really good roll. The best one for team fights will be Clown cartridge to get a bigger magazine. It means you have to reload less often. Then the right firing line for, I think it's roughly 20% more damage. I haven't done a test on it recently, but it's usually around 20%. And that will be the best for team fights, for example, raids, dungeons where you have at least 3 people. But if you're doing something solo or you just don't necessarily have everyone standing in one big group, for example, the Val raid boss, something like Vorpal or even Frenzy would be better because they'll be a lower percent, but you'll have them without needing teammates, so this might be better. Another perk on left that could be good would be Rapid Hit, but I think with the Origin trait, your reload speed is usually pretty good with this weapon as is. So I think if you wanted something other than Clown, it would be autoloading, which would pair pretty good with like Vorpal or Frenzy for solo play. So overall, the role I would go for most situations, Clown and Fireline. I think a good secondary is going to be autoloading and Frenzy or Vorpal. And yeah, this is by far the most important weapon to get this season. It is the strongest, and since it's Arc and it should be Arc 3.0 coming up next season, I think this will be like a lock for your power weapon slot because of how strong it is. And with it being Arc, it'll work with Phantom Might and all of the other Elemental Will mods. So yeah, definitely pick this thing up if you haven't yet. You can farm it from the second encounter in the dungeon or the final boss. I farmed it from the second encounter because it dropped this, the SMG, then 3 armor pieces, so it wasn't that bad. And one final thing to note about this weapon is what mag perk do you want. I usually go with Accelerated. Accelerated versus Liquid is usually pretty close to being an even comparison for DPS. Just depends on, do you want like a higher chance of one-hitting things with slightly more damage per shot, or would you want to shoot more often, which will usually end up being better DPS in longer fights. So it's kind of like, which one do you want? They're both pretty good. As long as you get one of the 2 options, you're pretty much good to go. I wouldn't like necessarily grind for like the 5 out of 5. Just get the 2 perks you want and one of those 2 options and you'll be good to go. And yeah, I think that is the 5 most important weapons to get from this season. Let me know what your list would look like and the roles that would go along with them. Like usual, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.